What is up, Mountaineer fans and college basketball fans? This is Hoops from the Hills. Sit back and relax as we get to talking about the backyard brawl. Before we get started, here is a video of Pitt head coach Jeff Capel talking about coaching against Bob Huggins over the years.
Yeah, obviously I have a lot of respect for Coach Huggins. Known him for a while. He's an outstanding coach everywhere he's been. In Akron, obviously his unbelievable teams he had in Cincinnati. And I thought, I feel for him because I thought he had the best team in the country when Kenyon Martin broke his leg. I thought that could have been the team that won him his national championship because they were really, really good. Obviously, Kansas State, I coached against them when I was in Oklahoma for the year that he was there, and then had a chance to coach against him when I was at Oklahoma. At West Virginia, we played him there, and certainly here. Have a lot of respect for him, his program, for his career, and it's an honor to have a chance to play them. I understand the rivalry. I understand the intensity of the rivalry. I don't think it's hatred, maybe hatred with the fans. I know I don't hate anyone. I have a lot of respect for them and their program.
What is up? Welcome in, everybody. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I'm riding solo today. Coos from Coos' Corner could not be here. That is my partner on this show. We have partnered up, Coos and I, to really try to get this thing off the ground. And we want to thank the 30 or so subscribers that joined us from our first video. We really appreciate that. With that said, let's talk about the backyard brawl. Tomorrow night, West Virginia, Pitt, as the Mountaineers ride up I-79, going into hostile territory. This is going to be a really interesting game. Let's break it down. There's a couple major stories going on here. I mean, this is a game with a lot of major stories. You wouldn't think it so early in the season, and two programs coming off of bad years by each other's standards this past season. You look at Pitt last year, they were 11-21, 6-14 in the conference, which is, Jeff Capel's a good basketball coach, who was the coach of the Pitt Panthers. I don't think anybody foresaw that going into last year. And so he and Bob Huggins had similar mindsets coming into this year. I looked up and down the Pitt roster. They've got transfers from everywhere mixed in with a couple of returning players. Unfortunately, we'll get into the injuries later, or lack thereof. We're not exactly sure what's going to happen. And so for now, let's get on to who is going to be on the court for the Pitt Panthers. Far and away, their most dynamic player has got to be, at least in game one, Blake Henson. Against Tennessee Martin, he was a man. And this guy, I mean, if you want to think of him as, he's more of an inside-out big. He runs about 6'7", 240 pounds. He's an Ole Miss transfer. When he was Ole Miss, he put up 25, 26 plus on an Auburn team once upon a time. So this is a guy that can explode at any point in time. He's a very physical player and a really thick guy. Think of a Zion Williamson type build, and that's what Blake Henson looks like. And so he's a guy that the Mountaineers should be worried about. He's probably going to be public enemy number one, assuming who I think isn't going to play, but we'll see about that. Number two has got to be Federico, who committed to the Mountaineers over the summer. It's a guy that I was really excited about. I think what happened was Trey Mitchell decided he was going to come to Morgantown. Trey Mitchell, a much more proven guy, and Federico has, coming from junior college, wasn't sure I don't think Bob was sure what he was going to get out of the big man who is 6'11", 220 pounds, by the way. And all he did against Tennessee Martin was go for 13-7 in his first big-time action. So hopefully this isn't a player that comes back to bite the Mountaineers. All the reports I got, reading into the situation, reading into the local situation down there, was that he was kind of asked to leave and the scholarship was pulled. And so he signed with Pitt as like a FU to you guys. Okay, I'll just sign with your biggest rival since you don't want nothing to do with it. And then you've just got to get into this three-guard lineup. Really explosive guard play. Really, what could be a really good backcourt for the Panthers this year. You're talking about Jamarius Burton, Nelly Cummings, and Greg Elliott. All three of them can shoot the ball, especially Elliott and Burton. I saw them guys both make multiple three-pointers in the game against Tennessee Martin and are all transfers. You remember Jamarius Burton played at Texas Tech, Cummings coming out of Colgate College, and Greg Elliott coming out of Marquette, where he averaged 7 points a game. All transfers. Does that remind you of a team that might be playing in Morgantown? Bob Huggins did it the same way. It's just the new age in college basketball. You're going to see transfers. So let's get into some of the metrics involving some of these players. You've got Nelly Cummings, who is a smaller guard at 6 foot, 185 pounds. Greg Elliott, the Marquette transfer, is 6'3", 180 pounds. And Jamarius Burton is 6'4", 200 pounds. A big, thick guy. So, and these are all guys that can score the ball. Like the Mountaineers and the Panthers couldn't be more different this year. We do have guys that can shoot the ball and score the ball. We're certainly, at least on paper, more physical than the Panthers are. But other than that, where it all ends. Let's get to a couple of players that are not supposed to play for the Panthers this coming tomorrow. Probably the biggest one is Dior Johnson. You know, really one of the highest rated recruits that Pitt's ever had, coming out of Napa County, California. You know, he's a New York kid. Don't want to go into too many specifics as to why he's not going to play. If you want to know why he's not playing, just look it up. But he's been accused of something that is really sickening. And, you know, I'm a big innocent until proven guilty guy. I don't want to further fan the flames of his guilt publicly by speaking about it. I just don't know enough about the situation. He could be as guilty as sin. I just don't know. All I know is he's been accused of something really bad, and we're just going to leave it at that. But on the floor, this is a big loss for the Panthers. I think coming into the season, he was a guy they thought could really put them over the top and actually make them a contender in the ACC. It would be quite a big loss for them. Now let's get into the gamemanship. You hear Jeff Capel say, hey, look, John Hughley, who is their best returning player, 6'9", 260-pound guy. He's a junior, was their leading scorer last year. He had a really good game against West Virginia last year. We're being told, hey, he's only doing individual drills. We're not even sure. You know, he hasn't even played in any of the exhibition games. And Bob Huggins had a funny response to that. He said, listen, I think he's going to be on the floor. I know everybody in Cleveland, which is where he was from. I found that to be really interesting. Also, from earlier, I want to correct one thing. Jamarius Burton, while he is a Texas Tech transfer, I guess I looked over at my research notes. He actually transferred last year, and he's a returning player for Pitt. Just wanted to put that on record real quick. And so what are the keys to victory for West Virginia in this game? Well, I think it's pretty simple. Do what Bob Huggins wants them to do. I think there's a formula for this team to win, and that obviously is the defensive-minded style that we play. We turn people over. We score off the defense. Also, we rebound the ball. It's going to be interesting to see the rebounding matchup in this one because it's going to be a lot more difficult, especially if Hughley plays. They've got some guys that can really rebound the ball. Betty Federico is obviously another guy that can pull down some boards. But with that said, I do think the Mountaineers are a little bit better than they were a game ago. This game is a game that worries me, but I think West Virginia can win this game. It's certainly a winnable game. And this is going to be a good barometer for both squads to see where they are. And I'm sorry, guys, but in a backyard brawl, I'm not picking against the Mountaineers. Sorry, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to say the Mountaineers win 71-69. Really close game. Maybe Eric Stevenson hits something at the end to put the Mountaineers ahead. Tell me what you guys think about that in the comments. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you guys to wish Coos a really happy time. He's going to be there on Friday. He's making a weekend of it. Then he's going to be in Morgantown on Saturday to watch Oklahoma, West Virginia play. So it's going to be a really good time for him. Guys, wish him a happy time down in the comments if you don't mind. All right, guys, this has been Mountaineer Paul. This show is over. Mountaineer Paul is out.